So in this way, one's mind without any doubt and then with full devotion, then he carry through the supplication prayer to Guru. So that it explains about the great qualities of the Guru. So as with one single pointed devotion and supplication prayer that they carry to the Guru, through that one could have the actual realization of the absolute true nature of mind as the clear light according to the Dzogchen practice. So in case one could not develop the devotion and inclination towards the Lama and the Guru, then there is no any other way one can give rise to the realization of the Dzogchen true nature. So in generally speaking that whatever deities practice one carry, one do, including 3 root deities, that has to be understood or visualized inseparable with the one's root to master. So it is just because that through that technique, one could receive the blessing faster. So in case if we think everything is very individual, then it will be just individually separated, and then it is more difficult to get actualized with anything. So even that just considering to examine the Lama and Buddha Dharmas is that itself is a kind of doubt. It is of course that it is not rejected to examine, but still there is no much real benefit. So it is important in the very beginning when one enters into the door of the Dharma. So once one enters into the Dharma gate and already accepted one's root teacher, and then still having all this kind of examining, and then doubt is the wrong view. At that time, then one should not have any doubts. That one need to have that full devotion and inclination without any doubts. In general, of course, as a Lama, the Guru, there are also just many different levels. But anyhow, once you accept it as one's teacher, that Lama, then it is more important to just have the devotion and inclination and respect. So that in the beginning, first one just take somebody as one's teacher, and then later on one started just kind of finding out the fault and then examining and then having all sorts of doubts and criticizing, insulting that oneself, creating one's own negative. So that is also one of the most greatest obscuration. So at that time, actually, that it is more important to have that devotion and inclination rather than that be doubt. So if one just train one's mind and then have one single pointed devotion or faith, of course one can receive all this blessing.
Gemo Chisole Reserva Gemo Nelly or Sonji Gomo Tovaki.
So as you know, it has been explained that the old woman who just prayed to that dog's tooth and then through that receiving all the blessing and attain enlightenment. So those all happened because of her great devotion. It is not because of the blessing of the dog tooth. So once one take as one's teacher, guru, lama, then that always try to cultivate that devotion and not avoid the wrong views and consider as like a Buddha and have that devotion, one will definitely receive all those blessings. So, however, that Lama would teach the perfect Dharma. So, when there is the perfect Dharma teaching, of course, that is the path that one can liberate. So, in the very beginning, just to examine the teacher, that is important. So after just being taken as one's teacher and then having all these kind of doubts and just criticizing and so forth, it is like just creating a karma of abandoning the Dharma. So in generally that whatever sorts of karma one have, according to that one would really meet with such a teaching. But anyhow, that if one just supplicate to the Buddha and then try to follow the actual Dharma practice, then still it is good. In generally, we all ordinary worldly peoples, that it is mostly we could have wrong or impure perception. Other than that, we don't have anything good perception. Even that there would happen real Buddha, still we may have some kind of wrong view. It's difficult to have that true faith.
Dada libi karma ta ko na thonji ji ge sonje ki kan zen ze de senjen go ko ndu ji do shinju ka sheba ji de ma to ya de lo ne ki ta ji ta ni le xia shin du nyam bon du de sonje le ya de to mu.
So, for instance, like Shakyamuni Buddha's one of disciple known as Gelung Bhikshu or Lekpe Karma, that who has been serving Buddha for almost like 22 years, and then he could not just see any quality and always think that Buddha is just deceiving all other beings. So then he just finally said that you, Buddha, as just deceiving all these beings, and I cannot serve you anymore. And 22 years I have been just serving you, but I didn't see any single quality. Now I'm just more wiser than you. And then he left Buddha.
Then Lord,
so since he, after 22 years, then not serving the Buddha as he left, then there is the Kungao, the Ananta, become as a Buddha's main attendant.
Then Kungao level Kamata Kare and over the Tako Kabo Denji Hindogre, the cut out the company. The children never called Hindogre, then they get out of cigarettes and so on. And
then Ananda asked to Buddha, now what will happen to this bhikshu Legbe Karma? And then Buddha said, well, now he will just die within a week time, that his mouth get dry up and never really just get anything to drink, and then he will be reborn in Holy Ghost beings.
Then was on the Koran. Needs the one that was saying, Sonjik Tenesung and that's around Shadam seat, the Sorkuse Kungawa Laris.
So then that Kungao, as the Ananta, as he heard from Buddha, he just as their Sangha friend, and he went to Legbe Karma and expressed to him, oh, now you just better confess to Buddha and be just follow the path. You may have just problem.
Tarik about digiling it, chip down and missing the Naki make it Chembagin Hakum and do their own calling Mogoshi, they use on the kitchen, say the Chimasu, about doing do this.
So then the Legbe Karma, he said, well, sometimes what he says truth, but not necessarily always. Anyhow, that I will not I will not die just because of not having anything to eat or drink for a week. Anyhow, I'm not going to drink at all. And then see, when I will not die, then whatever he said will be just a lie. So anyhow, then he didn't drink for a week, and then on the 7th day, then he felt just a kind of terribly thirsty. And then finally he drank a little bit water. And that became a condition that he just died. And then Ananda asked to Buddha that now where he is born, and then Buddha said, well, he is in a flower garden, just born in form of a Holy Ghost being, and then after that, when he dies, then again he will go to 3 lower realms. And then Ananda requested to Shakyamuni Buddha that will you please help him to liberate.
Then method don't run on the hit, don't watch it, leko, something on Nayasares.
And then in that garden, there is just a tree that somehow his mind is kind of reborn somewhere there. And then to liberate him, Buddha went there, and then Buddha gave the refuge, and then also taught many teachings on based on cause and effect of karma. But then because of his wrong view, still he cannot really just listen to it. So then he said that, oh, when I was in a human realm, that you have been just deceiving me, and now just after this next life, after the death, even still you want to just deceive me. So he really didn't want to listen to Dharma teaching and could not do anything, and then he reborn in three lower realms. So that is how that a very ordinary mind and impure mind will always perceive something impure. It is so difficult. So that is why it explains, try to just have that pure perception. So in this way, we have been just going through this practice and also now for many years becoming very familiar to each other, going through all these teachings. The most profound teaching based on the Dzogchen, the great perfection, that as the top of the banner, there is no any other higher or more profound teaching than this. So in this way, just try to understand all this Dharma teaching and try to carry through practice and hear it properly, so that we could have liberation and may not wander into the three lower realms anymore. So this whole complete cycle of teaching is that the great compassion at Avalokiteshvara directly transmitted to Menjur Dorje. So the lineage is also not a very long. So Tugu Menjur Dorje, the treasurer revealer, is actually that accomplished with the Avalokiteshvara deity practice and before just Shakyamuni Buddha came on this earth. And many countless beings were already got liberated by Tugu Menjur Dorje. And during the Shakyamuni Buddha's time, then he was born as Ananda. And during the Guru Padma Sambhava's time, then he was born as the great translator, Berutana, and then a great master, the Shubu Pelge Senge. So in between also just one has taken many emanations and then benefiting all those sentient beings.
Nyara non shen Ro retreatants teacher Sanyala on Penny Saint Doma by Yan years.
And also just went to, in general, being to all these 6 realms, and then specifically even like a hot hell realm, and then just liberate them from that suffering.
Nyavana Shandu in Nekasu, Chase on the Nyarana controls and the calling Mogos shaking the Sundays.
So when that born emanate in the hell realm to benefit all those hell beings, and then express to just to subdue the angers. And even the hell beings, they were somehow like angry to Gumenju Dorje that we are suffering here and still you are just kind of teasing us. And in that way, with many different methods, but still many beings were also could not really liberate.
They can't manage to the Chimboy, manage young soon. Then here's a deli, men on the deli, they made on the nothing, said looking soon.
And then he just started chanting the Om Pema Hung, that Avalokiteshvara's mantra with a very beautiful tune, and then just blow in a whole bunch of sand, and then threw into the hot hell realm, and then all the fires also got extinguished. And then he expressed that at that time he could liberate lots of beings from there.
Oh, Tenant read the Conji to Jimon, Conema Jim, but Jiba Bemazin, Yamoto Yabores.
So in that way, that this transmission, the whole complete teaching that from great compassionate Avalokiteshvara directly transmitted to Gumenju Dorje until now, which is a very close the lineage.
Tata Lama sort of said, Topper here in the juries. Rangita Lama Yimbala, Sonjikundi, Donny Jens, Topper here gives.
So then, just as we have been going through that prayer, supplication prayer to the Guru, that the essential nature is one's root teacher, but appears in form of Guru Pamusambhava, who is the condensed nature of all the past, present, future Buddhas.
Wong Yilan did, Situni did in a Sonjik. Donny Lama, Tejan Lama said, Sonjik conditions.
So even during the receiving empowerment, that where we express that above one's head there is the just a Guru who is the condensed nature of all the Buddhas.
So I thought terrace.
And that is the how we carry through supplication prayer.
She only number on the church that can come with death remato, Tanji, see the lane, then die about Kyoto remato.
So anyhow, all these prayers that maybe that because of the language, maybe sometimes not understand, but every single word has a great meaning.
Oh, today no, today Mondo Dojen or Madon Chenamba person, then Salon Don Dojen Nuyi.
So in that way, then that accept the Tsalung students, and then the texture, those who are receiving Shine, you guys stay here, and rest you all can leave and carry through your practice.
This song,